Greetings, filmmakers. I'm here today to hopefully give you some inspiration and talk through 8 reasons why you should start and finish your passion project. Here we go. All right, so my first reason is taking responsibility. So a lot of the time on corporate and commercial sort of video work that we do, it's often easy when something maybe doesn't work out perfectly or exactly as you'd like it to, it's easy to put the blame elsewhere. Oh, we had this great idea, but the client didn't like it, so we had to do this. You know, there's a lot of reasons, and there's always, restrictions, time, resources, money. There are restrictions on everything. It just varies where those restrictions are at. But when it's your project, when it's your concept, your idea, yes, okay, there's limitations in terms of budget and all those sorts of things, but it forces you, without excuses, to take total responsibility for the project at hand. And if your head's in the right place, that is not up your ass and you're too prideful to try to learn from the experience and you think you have all the answers, if your head's in the right place and you go into it to learn, you can learn so much. Learning to take responsibility for your work and not blaming external sources, but then to be able to really critically self-reflect and look at what you did right, where you made mistakes, not for the sake of just criticizing yourself and beating yourself up and getting you down, but to then be able to pull out of that and analyze, oh, okay, yes, I made this mistake, but what were the oversights? What was I not looking at? How did that happen? Sometimes things happen that are freakish and kind of unavoidable, but a lot of the time there might be patterns in the way we prepare that we can look at so we can be better prepared for our next project, whether that's a purely creative passion project or a corporate or commercial film. My second point, meeting collaborators and like-minded friends. So,
what do you think, Rob?
Day one. A little bit far behind, but loving it.
Films aren't made in isolation. The name of the game is collaboration. And one of the joys of the last year for me has been getting to work with an amazing group of people on my short film, Evenfall, which is now edit locked and in post-production. It's one of the unexpected joys is when you step out, you create a project, it opens up doors so that other people that are keen to further their own careers and create work, you get to work with these people. And it's really corny, but for me, one of the best parts of the last year and finally getting going on my own personal passion project has been the people that I've got to meet and work with and collaborate with and form friendships with. Filmmaking's not much fun if we just do it by ourselves, and honestly I think that the best part about it for me is being on set and working with a really cool group of people. So get on with your project and find the people to collaborate with. Number 3, you'll learn new stuff and you'll make mistakes. You'll learn stuff you don't know, and you'll learn stuff you don't know. Personally, I've been learning a lot of new skills that I never had before, really simple sort of software skills around sort of rotoscoping and compositing and certain work that I didn't have a lot of experience with before in post, at least not for years. But ultimately, if you get out there and you actually start shooting your ideas, you can actually evolve. So you'll see, how do your ideas come off the page and onto the screen? What translates well, what works, what doesn't. How do your storyboards or your shot lists, however you plan about going about your work, you can start to see what's really working, what isn't working. And it's only by as much as reading books and watching films and all of that is super awesome and really useful, nothing really compares to the learning that comes from actually getting on set and doing the work. One thing I've definitely learned is your communication skills are going to get a huge workout, and you realize how important it is to be so crystal clear for the cast and the crew in your vision of what you're trying to create. and people start asking questions, and you suddenly realize where, you thought you had all the answers, you realize there's all these blank spots in your vision, all these details, whether they're costume related or art design related, or how certain camera moves are meant to work together, where an actor is meant to come from, how to, there's a million things. But by getting things right and by making mistakes, once again, you're going to be in a better position next time. On our production, one of our biggest errors was, for some reason, every time we went out to do a location scout or a test shoot, we had pitch perfect conditions, like ridiculously perfect conditions. There was one location externally, and where we went there at the right time, we'd been there multiple times, and on the test shoots and everything, it was all misty and really cloudy, like super thick mist. And it was exquisite. It was perfect. And there was a shed where we were filming that was painted white, but because the clouds were so thick and the fog as well, which was there each time prior to the actual shoot, we didn't actually realize how early. We knew when the sun was coming up, but we thought it was coming up later because everything was so thick. We didn't realize on that previous shoots that it was already up. And yes, we checked Google and all of that sort of stuff. But anyway, come to the shoot day, we're getting absolutely hammered by sun. I can't really shoot the angles that I wanted to shoot because the shadows of the camera operators and everything are hitting the talent. We're moving around this big diffuser, but nothing was really working. So and then we still finished the scene, and then it took us so much longer though, and then we went. There was also an inside part of that scene, and a lot of our time got lost trying to get the outdoor scene to work, when in hindsight, we hadn't done our prep properly. And what we should have done is just cut that scene off, the exterior part, moved inside and given ourselves ample time, like hours more than what we ended up having, to get that part of the sequence. Now, what we got was still good. It still worked out, really well. But I watch it now knowing, wow, that could probably be like even more polished and a lot stronger, because we could have just taken like ample time and come back to reshoot the exterior. So we did do that, but what did we do differently? Well, we went back and we re-scouted it multiple times, both myself and the DP Shane Piggott, and we actually shot the sequence just with ourselves standing in, and we created storyboards, or I created storyboards out of those shots that we got. So then we could go to the crew, we could say, this is the time, even if the sun's blaring out, this is going to work. We actually ended up shooting it in the afternoon, whereas initially we were shooting it in the morning. So the big lesson for us then was, scout, don't expect the weather to be the same. It was just, a big error on our part, but one I don't intend on making again. Number 4, challenge yourself. So we get a lot of sort of corporate documentary, kind of what we call branded storytelling work. And I really like that work. I really like, going out and meeting with real people and just, I guess, getting insights into people's lives and parts of the world that otherwise wouldn't come into my little bubble. We're often trying to squeeze maximum quality out of a lot of constraints, the biggest one for us, which is usually time. And then I find myself certainly as a sort of mini doc filmmaker, I find myself often relying on the same old tricks, like falling back on recurring patterns of shooting, which are not like bad, but because I'm making that work for a client, I don't want to be too risky. I want to kind of play it safe because they're paying me to do a job and they're familiar with the work that I've done. And so I end up often playing it maybe too safe and repeating kind of the same patterns of shooting. So after a while, a year or 2 years, you start to go, oh, wow, and it's a good and a bad thing, because you go, oh, there's a kind of sameness about the work, and that's good and bad, because it's good because it then leads to people hiring you to do more of that work, and then you get more of that work, but then you keep doing it the same because that's what people want. But also you're stuck on time, so you just go and do the same stuff, some 100 FPS, some handheld, some gimbal, blah blah blah. So But when it's your project, when it's a passion project, this is your opportunity right from the start to go, right, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. I haven't done enough of this. I'm going to try and learn this and that and this. And I'm not saying, create a story around what are the things that you want to learn, but it is an opportunity for yourself to, try to, make sure there's room to fail. There's no point playing it too safe, just doing something that you can do well, because what's the point? Look at, use it as an opportunity to really challenge yourself. Do you want to write and act and direct? Go do it. That's what I did. Would I do it again? I don't know. Maybe not. There were areas where it worked. Cheap insurance, no insurance. So there were areas where it was, a challenge for me to look at the details. But whatever it is, this is an opportunity to challenge yourself and take the opportunity to do a project that isn't like the kind of projects that are coming your way every day. Number 5, it's fun. Like anyone that's been on set on a short or a feature or whatever, yes, there's a lot of waiting, there's a lot of tinkering, a lot of time, a lot of whatever. But filmmaking, like if you're just into filmmaking, there's an energy when you're on a film set with a cool group of people and you're creating something together. Even the awkward little problem-solving parts that are difficult and take up time. I find myself always looking back on those things fondly, because there's something really special about encountering problems, having a group of people together, problem solving that together, getting through it and getting on to the next shot. Like, it's a joy. Again, I was saying before, but yeah, I fell in love not just with films themselves, but with the process. That was the thing that I think I really fell for first was, I'm with this group of people and I'm moving this camera around. We're figuring out where to put it, where we're going to put ourselves, the actors, and, just piece by piece, working that puzzle out. For people that aren't into filmmaking, it probably sounds really weird, but filmmaking is just fun. And you can find, if you go out and you work on a passion project, whether it's narrative, whether it's documentary, whether it's a music video, whether it's like a video poem, whatever it is, you find that you can go out. If you're feeling a bit flat, you get re-energized about why you love the process in the first place, and then you take that kind of joy and you take that to your commercial or your corporate work, and you find that you will do a better job because you've rediscovered or you've just kindled that passion for it. Number 6, creating your own opportunities and taking your career into your own hands. Sometimes cool jobs fall into our lap. Or a job leads to another cool job. But a lot of the time, I think the kind of projects that we'd really like to do aren't coming our way, or aren't coming our way like all the time. I really, really like my job. I really love corporate filmmaking, and I love telling personal stories, love making music videos, all those different things. Really enjoy it. But would I rather be writing and directing television or movies? Yeah, I would, but that's not just gonna happen. I'd like to work my way to get there while also kind of keeping my foot safer in the corporate commercial camp. But ultimately, that's where I'd want to be. But that's on me to create the work, to prove that I can do it and get that in front of the right people. So there's no guarantees, and I don't need them, because I do it because probably the same reason other filmmakers do it. You just gotta, right? So other than just scratching that creative itch, making films because it's what you love to do, it's what you're passionate about, it's these projects that you put so much of your heart and your time into, that you really have the opportunity to hopefully make something really special, build your portfolio of work, not just for yourself, but also for the other creatives involved in the project. And on that, what I would say, even though this isn't a numbered entry, is look at how you can help other filmmakers with their productions as well, because there'll be lessons that you can take out of those projects, other filmmakers that you'll get to meet. Don't keep your head don't focus solely on your own career, but look at how you can help other people get their stories made as well. And that'll flow back and forth, and that's the way it should be. Yeah, number 7, I think I've kind of squeezed this from number 6, but is building your portfolio of work. So for me, again, I do a lot of kind of documentary style corporate work, and that's great, and I enjoy those projects. But if I want to get to do more and more narrative work, I've just got to make it. I think the reality is that there's nothing today in this day and age, the price that cameras are, it just takes a bit of stepping out of our comfort zone and a bit of money, but not necessarily a lot to make films. It's just kind of making the effort to connect with the right people and, having an idea or a concept or a script that other people are going to be keen on being involved with. You could shoot a short or a feature, whatever, on a 5D Mark III with Magic Lantern RAW and have outstanding image quality, or the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. Cost, even a phone, cost is just not the barrier that it used to be. I mean, we shot Evenfall on Red because it's what we have for work, but you do not need. You don't need a Red or an ARRI or a high-end Canon or whatever, or Sony camera to shoot a short film, to show your idea and to showcase people's work. You don't need it. So Evenfall for Hallucinor, for both Shane and myself, was a portfolio, a reel builder for him as a DP and me as a director. If you've got a film that you really want to make, don't wait for permission, just get out there and make it. So my last point is not really, hopefully not just relevant for filmmakers, but I doubt this video in its entirety is relevant to anyone else. And that's that I think getting comfortable with getting outside of your comfort zone is a really healthy and good sort of habit to get into. Because, whether that's getting comfortable with networking and meeting new people, getting comfortable with continuously reskilling and learning new technology, whether that's cameras or software, getting comfortable or taking risks on new ways of shooting a scene, getting comfortable, just doing projects that are not your usual thing. I think, we've all got our own little bubbles of varying sizes depending on who we are and the history that we have of what we are comfortable with. And every time that we take on something new and different and maybe a little bit scary, generally 9 times out of 10, once we get through it, it's like our comfort zone expands. It's only when things are uncomfortable or unclear or difficult that there's possibility for us to grow, both as filmmakers and as people. If we only stay in those, in our little bubble of what we know how to do, there's no possibility for growth for us, both in terms of the craft and just as individuals. So I think whatever it is for you that you're scared of or tentative to try, I think, this is an opportunity for you to expand your comfort zone and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where things happen. It's on that precipice, on that edge where we're not really sure, where we don't have all the answers. We don't know what's on the other side of that until we kind of take the leap. But when we get used to stepping outside of our bubble, we get comfortable with a wider set of situations, a wider set of circumstances, and we're more just generally ready and able to take on new challenges in the future. Hopefully that inspired you to get on with whatever you've got cooking with a little bit more speed and tenacity. I better go do some more post-production work now. See you next time.